Good morning, everybody, and welcome back. Yes, I'm back today with another one because today should be a rather eventful day. Today, President Biden will unveil part number one of his infrastructure package as he releases this information from a location in Pittsburgh. It's going to be actually rather exciting. Yesterday, we had a preview released by the White House. I covered some of this information last night. And legislators are pushing heavy to have this bill include more checks, more stimulus checks. Let's get you caught up on the news. Good morning, everybody, and welcome back. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'm Edward Bilder. To all my loyal subscribers, welcome back. And if you're joining me for the first time today, consider becoming a subscriber. I'm going to dive straight into President Biden because he will have a big announcement here later today on his infrastructure plan. He plans to announce this from a location in Pittsburgh. And yesterday, the White House released some juicy information. Is it juicy? I don't know if it's that juicy. The juicy information is really what came after the big announcement, and that is the push for more stimulus checks. We're going to talk about that fourth check coming up here later in this episode. I want to just break out to you a quick preview. I'm going to go through it step by step here because at 4:20 today is what I believe the time is. C-SPAN reserved a spot at 4:20. They're not officially announcing the time that he's going to come on air. And he's typically late. I will say that. He's typically late. So I'm going to dive straight into what is in this part one. It's like $2.2 trillion. Huge amount of money. And I'm just going to list it out for you. $650 billion for infrastructure, $400 billion for elderly and disabled, $300 billion in housing, green efficiency for possibly low-income housing, $300 billion towards manufacturing of electrical vehicles, EVs, right, and EV stations. $400 billion in clean energy credits. That is huge. And this is like an incentive for electric cars for the future because he wants to have basically green cars starting this big transition over the next 35 years to reduce the carbon offsets and carbon emissions from standard vehicles. So he wants those off the road and he wants electric cars on the road. So this is just a preview of what we should see. Now, what is not a preview is if this will include additional stimulus checks. There was a rather heavy letter that was pushed across the desk to President Biden and Kamala Harris demanding that this infrastructure bill should include recurring checks, this is direct payments, and unemployment insurance. Let's get you caught up.
So yesterday was a rather big and interesting day. I announced last night on the channel here that there is a new letter that was sent over to President Biden, and it is basically demanding a fourth stimulus check. And not just a fourth stimulus check, but the extension of unemployment. I'm going to talk about the terms of how they want to get this done, but it is being suggested that this must be included in the Build Back Better long-term economic plan, and it's gaining a lot of support. 60 legislators right now are backing this, 11 senators, including Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren. And the letter was wrote by Representative Ilhan Omar. And it basically is outlining that we need to include in the next bill here recurring payments and a further extension of unemployment. Now, these recurring payments and the extension of unemployment will have a different spin on them. And you may recall this, okay, because this came up like last June of 2020, where the recurring payments were automatic based on these automatic stabilizers. So based on something in the economy, whether it's the jobs report for unemployment or the GDP, it would essentially extend automatically recurring payments and extend automatically unemployment instead of everybody having to sweat when that deadline finally comes up and Congress has to get out there and have some new act of Congress to extend these things. This automated stabilizer, I think, might be a good idea, a good move. Because, it creates a ton of stress on people when they're waiting and thinking, are we going to get a bill passed? Because my unemployment's about to expire here. Am I going to lapse? Am I going to have retro? A lot of unanswered questions. And she's also pointing out that these two things go hand in hand, the recurring payments and the unemployment. I'm going to talk about this further here in just a moment. Now, I ask everybody if they think this is clickbait. Why do I ask this if you think it's clickbait? This came up before, and, if it didn't have a lot of support then, and it kind of just tanked. It just went straight down. And you would think, almost think to yourself, if it's clickbait, these congressmen and women right now are extremely popular and have extremely high ratings when they bring out letters like this, because anytime they're going to willingly send money to all the people and just make it rain, their popularity goes through the roof. So this could possibly be clickbait. I don't know. It could be a rally to just get you to pay attention to the upcoming infrastructure bill, really hold on to it, hang like out on the edge of a cliff, like, real cliffhanger, waiting for them to announce more stimulus inside the bill. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what's going to happen today. I'm excited to see it. We're going to cover it right here on the channel. Again, it's going to be probably at 4:20 today. I'll have an announcement here if it comes up sooner. And of course, it will be recorded. So if President Biden, I'm just going to say this, if President Biden doesn't necessarily announce this in today's big announcement, I don't know that it'll be included in the bill. I'm just going to point that out there. I think he has to be behind this in order to get this done. So let's shift over. I'm going to talk about some of this compelling data that she brought out here, because it further reinforces the need for the two to work hand in hand.
So in this letter that Omar sent to the president and the vice president, she is pointing out that direct payments and unemployment work hand in hand. And this kind of makes sense if you really think about it, right? Not everybody qualifies for unemployment, especially those that were reduced in workforce, not officially released from their job, but just reduced in workforce, reduced in their hours, or maybe they had to reduce their own hours to stay home, take care of their children, or take care of some elderly member of the family, some dependent, and they don't necessarily qualify for unemployment. So these two payments, she's pointing out through an urban study that the two payments together could lift 12 million people out of poverty and 6.3 million people above the poverty line. She's pointing out that this is the most effective way for spending data to go up, and that 60% of Americans are suggesting that the $600 and the $1,400 will not last them more than 3 months. Now, how this would work, it would have automatic stabilizers on it, and you can imagine so many people out there get so stressed out as unemployment nears closer and closer and closer to ending, because it requires a new act of Congress to keep it going. So an automatic stabilizer would be based on something in the economy, whether it's the jobs report or whether it's maybe attached to the GDP or something, that would essentially automatically reinstate or extend unemployment and keep the recurring payments, direct payments, going on longer. And as soon as it reaches a certain threshold, boom, it shuts off, or it steps back a phase, right? And it steps down a phase until it shuts off. So these automatic stabilizers would be the mechanism to stop the last set of payments. I think that's a pretty interesting move. I think automatic stabilizers would definitely be resourceful here for unemployment, and of course for the recurring payments. She further went on to say that 65% of all Americans support recurring payments through the duration of the overall pandemic. That's a big statement. Through the duration of the pandemic. Now, her last statement, she closed out by saying, in the words of Biden, it's time for boldness. So will this boldness show up in the infrastructure bill? That's a good question. That is a very good question, and I hope we get this answered today. Now, they do have, the Democrats have 9 opportunities to really slam dunk over the next 2 years, 9 bills. They get slam dunk 9 bills. That's what that 51 votes. And, they're probably going to want to get this done sooner than later, because Joe Manchin, the Republicans are all over Joe Manchin to convert him to a Republican to get that 1 extra vote back to the other side. So now I'm not exactly clear if President Biden doesn't stand behind this recurring payments and the extension of unemployment. It actually may never happen. Okay, I think that President Biden really needs to support this push. That's why Omar got so many legislators behind her to show Biden, hey, look, this is what we want to see. This is what the American people want to see. And we need to convince you so that we could get this thing done. I think that's the move here. So stay tuned. We're going to cover this in detail because this big announcement is going to come out today. I can't wait to hear it. I'm actually excited after seeing this letter come out because I think there's going to be some big exciting news here. So stay tuned.
Remember, I'm always looking for new investors and partners in my B&Bs and my short-term rentals. You can find me in the description on Instagram if you'd like to hear more about this. I think it's time that we all take some of this stimulus money and get out there and start changing our futures. If you're in a service industry at one point in your life, maybe it might be time to consider passive income as a new mode of the future. Just think, you're getting a lump sum of money and you did not have to go out and drive a car or a truck to earn that money. I practically earn money in my sleep because I focus on real estate and earning things in a passive royalties, investments, things like that just pay me automatically. So it may be a time to get out there and start changing your future. You can check out Webull in the description. They want to give you 2 free stocks valued up to $1,850. And I announce on this channel all the time, each month I get about $2,000 worth of free stocks, and all I do is click 2 buttons and recommend my friends, and I get all these free stocks. And if I don't like the stocks, I just trade them in and get whatever I want. I could even cash those out and take the $2,000 and go do something else with it, right? So I think Webull's pretty awesome. You should check them out in the description. That's Webull. If you need further assistance outside of my free content, you can find me pinned in the top comment for a one-on-one consultation. I thank you all again, and I will catch you later today when that big announcement comes out by President Biden. We'll talk soon.